All right, let's pop into this, man. Somebody, or yeah, somebody sent me. I was gonna say a couple people might have sent this to me, but somebody sent me this Turkey Tom video about Joshua Block, his World of T-shirts on TikTok. I know of him decently. I've kind of keeping my eye on it for a while. I've talked about it a few times. I do not like this Michael Quinn guy. I don't think he's a very good person. I'm assuming he'll pop up in here. I feel bad for Josh, man. Another young man with, autism on the internet. And, people do troll him a little bit. Not as bad as others, but they still troll him a little bit. They rile him up, and he would probably be better off if he logged off the internet. I've seen him, I mean, honestly, I think he's like an alcoholic now. It's terrible. It's a horrible thing to say. So let's see what we got here, though. Okay, that's an interesting start.
This is Joshua Block. If you don't already know him, you'd be forgiven for thinking he just escaped from a mental asylum. However, he's actually a very popular content creator with his World of T-shirts TikTok.
New York, concrete jungle where things are made. Wait, what is it? Dreams are made. I don't know. I can't even impersonate Josh doing Kanye West. It's crazy.
Account boasting 2.6 million followers. A man of many talents, he solidified his standing in the public consciousness through hard work and shrewd hustling. At least that's probably what he believes. The truth is that Joshua may be the only person who takes himself even slightly seriously. Ever since his unorthodox jump to stardom, he's worked overtime to erode every bit of goodwill his initial fans may have had for him, be it due to—
Just to be clear, the tone kind of makes it seem like Josh is actively doing these things on purpose. This dude has it's another person that has autism that's struggling to interact. I'm not saying he's a great person. I'm just saying that, I feel like sometimes we put a little too much control onto some of these individuals going through it,
To his violent outburst against a fish, the fact that many people take issue with him charging fans for photos, or having a smidge too much love for the bottle. This has resulted in him securing an audience hell-bent—
Hey, catch your bag, bro. Charge for those pictures.
And seeing him completely self-destruct. But how did it come—
What did I say? Kanye West. Who did I say? Did I say a different black person? Did I say Jay-Z? Oh, fuck. I said Jay-Z. They all look the same if you think about it. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, dude. Shut up. Don't talk to me anymore, guys. Shut up. But my wife was the one who fucking corrected me in the chat. She's trying to get me canceled, dude.
To this. What's the story behind the downfall of TikTok's newest lolcow?
Not really new, man. This guy's been a lolcow for 3 years. This guy's so... Wait, is that Lil Wayne? Is that Large Wendy? Oh. Wow, what a interesting intro.
If you're one to believe websites like Wikitubia and Know Your Meme, you'll find that
I have no idea what that was.
Joshua had uploaded his first ever video on September 22nd, 2020. And in fact, you'll see this—
Yeah, that's the boom of 2020. The boom of 2020.
repeated in multiple other places. But the story of Joshua and his channel go back further than that, all the way back to June of 2019, when the then 17-year-old first started uploading videos. For a while, he would continue uploading them to minimal views, doing so simply for fun, until he finally got his big break in October.
What's the actual thing? Or is this just supposed Reddit stuff?
October of that year, which was a video of him eating crickets.
Yo, exotic food check.
There we go.
It was with this—
Does that taste good?
initial
They sell that as the Asian market by me. Are they any good?
success that the starstruck Joshua began to take TikTok
The modern pop songs of 2019 left behind by 2020. Senorita.
much more seriously. You see, ever since he was rather young, Josh had always dreamed of being self-employed, and he realized that TikTok was his golden ticket to boss mode. He would go on to do everything in his power to capitalize on this in the short term, to very mixed success, with a lot of his videos from then to September 2020 getting 4-digit views. But despite the low—
Is this effort long? In the background? What is happening?
amount of attention, the few popular uploads he did have would be enough for him to slowly build a niche community, drawn to the channel by his bizarre behavior. The best example of this is definitely his lip sync videos, which were some of his most popular content at the time. Take this one, in which he mouths the lyrics of My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. Except, mouthing may not be the right term here, as a more apt description might be that he's flapping his jaw like an upside-down trash can in rhythm to the song's lyrics. Or take this example, where
Oh, wait, there's lyrics mentioned? Holy fuck, dude, that guy's getting real popular.
he laments the terribleness of the year 2020 by lip-syncing Happy New Year by Studio 99. Both of these demonstrate a rather peculiar quality of Josh, one that could be argued to have been the initial thing that drew people in: his
His autism? Like, what?
distinct lack
What
of
is
facial
it?
expressions. In the second video,
okay.
despite talking about the
I
depth
feel like he has some pretty Solid facial expressions. What okay.
Of someone important enough to him to make a whole TikTok out of it, he remains completely deadpan, with his eyes barely even moving throughout. It didn't take a genius to understand that there was something special about Josh, from his odd mannerisms to his very stilted delivery. This resulted in most of the growing fan base being composed of people who just made fun of him, seeing him in the same light as any other TikTok lolcow. But that was all Josh needed. And as his notoriety slowly increased, his videos would start getting a fair bit more views, with numerous uploads getting...
Yeah, I've said this before. I think a lot of people don't necessarily know why they get views or likes. They just see a view and a like and go, oh, that's cool. But, you know, for some people, like lolcows, I think they, at least ones like Josh, they think that it's like people. Well, I mean, some people like Josh. Josh is an interesting guy, but you know, I think a lot of it is just, hey, I want to stay at this. I want this to stay on my algorithm so I can kind of watch this a little bit of this downward spiral here. But like that they get might be perceived as, oh, this person likes me. When it might be more like, oh, this person just wants to track me to bully the fuck out of me.
In excess of 100K hits.
Is doing this make money? Not anymore. Well, he does tours around New York. So I've seen a couple videos of it. But they changed the monetization program on TikTok, so it's only videos a minute and over now. So all of the videos under that, they don't get monetized anymore like they used to. It's kind of a shit program. They should just give a percentage, like YouTube Shorts gives you 45% of the ad revenue. But they're really trying to push on longer form content, so to be competitive with YouTube. So they're doing it like this. And none of the old videos count too. It's so stupid. It's only the ones you post after you get into the program. It's kind of dumb.
And some of them even got 200K. Staying true to his form, these were extremely varied. Everything from videos about the pandemic to random goofs to...
But at this point in the lore, there's no monetization program. I don't think that came into like 2021 maybe. I don't really remember.
Even more lip syncs. Of course, while it's easy for us to see that his main draw was the fact he was basically a laughingstock, it doesn't really seem Josh had caught on to that fact, because as he became more and more popular, he began looking for other avenues of potential
this video has like a mean tone.
Growth. This would lead to him creating a YouTube channel by the name of World of Interviews on April 8th, 2020. Nothing's really known about this channel, as the only things you'll find on it are 2 videos with our titular hero. One of them is a short where he introduces us to what the channel is all about.
Welcome to World of Interviews, a YouTube channel where we do podcast interviews with famous TikTokers.
Hey, where's my interview, Josh? What the fuck?
Discover your favorite celebrities today.
The second video is a 5-minute interview with the man himself, conducted by some random person who I haven't actually found anything about at all.
Oh my god, is that Teddy Fresh?
The video reveals some interesting facts. For one, Josh shares with us that he had first downloaded the TikTok app in 2019 and that he had started uploading on it around August. He mentions how by September he fell in love with TikTok, and by October he became...
Yeah, I started mine, I think, in the January 2020, and I just posted silly stuff for fun, and then, yeah, look at me now. I'm a fat fuck reacting to videos. So.
TikTok famous and
how low does my voice go? I don't know. It goes this low. The Leviathans are coming for you. How do you like that? It's like
his own words. He also went on to share with us that he had 240,000 followers at this point in time. He then says he's in the top 10,000.
Yeah, I just hit 251 or 250K on my YouTube TikTok that I started doing more again, so that's cool, huh?
On famous birthdays, which, as far as I can tell, is correct. When asked what exactly he owes this success to, he credits the fact that his uploads tend to be varied, as opposed to, you know, the actual reason people were watching him, which seems to be completely over his head.
He's a bit of a silly goose. I don't think he was that much of like a horrible, like terrible lolcow at this point, where people like really bullied him. I think it was more fun at the beginning. It got really dark as time got on, though.
Do variety.
When this dude started licking floors, you know, well, some people were mean and they would just film Josh like walking. He has an interesting walk, like stomping around New York. But it started to get, I think it got more dark more than anything else. I don't think that the fans were that bad. Like, this wasn't like Daniel Larson levels of trolling. Like, for the most part, it seemed to be lighthearted. The real troll is Michael Quinn. Like, that guy's a scumbag. I remember he seemed to have orchestrated this whole thing where he stole Josh's luggage and then told him he didn't know where it was. And Josh was like going around town looking for it, stressing out and going crazy while Michael Quinn was making fun of him. It was kind of fucked up. I remember covering it in one of my videos. This Michael Quinn guy's a real scumbag piece of shit. And I think Michael Quinn's rich. It's not for money that he does it. I think he does it just so that he gets a level of fame, but he's a real piece of shit.
Sebastian Boorkes super chat $1.99. Don't forget, Papa. Leviathans are coming for you.
Hopefully we come together, man.
E-videos. Most people on the app only stick to one thing.
Throughout the interview, he presents this YouTube channel as a guaranteed cash cow, planning to use his TikTok success and the success of other large TikTok creators he would interview to launch his YouTube channel into orbit. There wasn't much more to the interview besides the fact he once again mentions how he's still in high school at this point.
He should have stuck with that. That could have been an interesting thing.
point. For context, he was born August 7th, 2001, which would have made him 18 years old. We'll get deeper into the implications of this a bit later, but keep that tucked in your noggin. This concludes with a few more TikToks made by Joshua, which are about the same quality as you would expect, with his signature stilted delivery. Overall, the whole video was pretty boring, which is enough of an explanation for why it never really took off. Besides being confused on whether the interview was shot by Joshua or the interviewer, most people were
you gotta keep it up, man. You gotta learn through it.
far more interested in the mysterious figure standing in Joshua's doorway in the first half of the video. Questions about it were completely
His granddad? What the fuck?
unanswered for the time being. Regardless, the channel was very quickly abandoned.
Hey, who's the lurking chap?
For reasons that should be obvious enough to anyone. But that didn't mean he was done experimenting with content. In September of 2020, he would once again attempt to diversify his audience by creating a secondary TikTok account called the Starbucks Club, which,
I vaguely remember this.
in his own words, was a channel meant purely for people who drank Starbucks, as explained thoroughly across the first 3 videos on his channel. While the channel definitely
What the fuck?
had more of that unique Joshua flair than the
There was so much, what did he say he made this?
as a secondary TikTok account commenting with content. In September of 2020, he would
Yeah, man, there were so many views to go around because people were home from the pandemic that you could, like, restart a channel if you were popular enough and blow up so fast. That's so weird.
They had more of that unique Joshua flair than the YouTube. It seems he would abandon it pretty quickly after not finding success. Joshua is extremely familiar with the sunk cost fallacy. But there was some good news. While the side projects were a miserable failure, the World of T-Shirts channel was doing pretty well. So Josh continued to upload on it consistently. But at this point, he was still quite unknown,
Yeah, he used to sing Lil Wayne songs on there, right? Is that what it was?
with his fan base being very insulated. All of this would change on the hallowed day of September 22nd, with the upload of a quaint little video in which he mouths the lyrics to some parody song, staying true to form by looking like the main character of Ride to Hell Retribution. Now, this video is actually not that remarkable in terms of views, as at this point, he would be getting 200,000 views pretty regularly. But it does serve as a split-off point between obscurity and his sudden rise to fame. Because you see, at this point, the sky was the limit for our friend with the steely gaze, and he started uploading hundreds upon hundreds of videos to his TikTok channel every single month, with a number of them
Yeah, man. I remember I used to do a lot of content, too. I'd do like 10, 15 videos a day. I would just sit in my car on break at work and just fuck around.
scoring very solid views, including this oddball duet where he humorously judges an obvious joke TikTok. But the real difference came as September ended. When he finally broke the 200,000 view roof he had been confined to for so long, with an upload on the 2nd of October. This video was dedicated to enlightening his viewers about the facts that pandemics happen roughly every 100 years, listing a couple of plagues going about 300 years back.
Yeah, it's probably true. Sure.
And managing to actually get 2 million views for this informative piece. Just a few days later, however, he would go on to beat
Did he make it or did he copy someone else's?
this record with a video where he painted his tongue 2 different colors with the use of some gummies, hopefully explaining to us the entire process.
So these will change the color of your tongue permanently for weeks.
I don't think that's what the word permanently means, but okay.
We're gonna put these in my mouth and wait 10 minutes.
This is my wife told me today. That was crazy. Okay. Wow.
It's not coming off.
Okay.
Shit.
This video shattered his previous record from just a few days prior with 10 million views. His before insulated audience had now expanded, as millions of unaware and very confused normies were exposed to the world of t-shirts, expressing a mix of sheer befuddlement and amusement in the comments. With videos like these and many, many more, his whole channel exploded, getting 4 times the followers in October compared to what he got in September. He had become a veritable normie magnet, as his content became ever present on TikTok front pages. However, while all this success was certainly nothing to scoff at, this was merely a precursor for what was to come, as our eternally ambitious main hero would
Hey, I've been there before. That's like, is that Grand Central Station in New York? It's a nice station.
not be satisfied with just filming himself at home being utterly asinine. So at the tail end of 2020, he would dedicate his time into a slightly different kind of content, music. Josh announced his first song in November of 2020, set to be released on the 1st of December. He announced it in
Yeah, that clip was funny because it's I wonder if he was actually intentional. He hit the humor pretty well. It was pretty good timing. The shit was actually kind of a little bit of a knee slapper there. I wonder if it was if it was intentional or not.
much the same way you would probably expect from him at this point, sounding perhaps even more deadpan than he usually does, which is pretty impressive.
I'm releasing a song on December 1st. It's very short.
I didn't know about the song that he released.
It's only about a minute long, but it's all about...
Wait, he said that there was a short on his old YouTube channel? When did TikTok short... I mean, when did YouTube Shorts even become a thing? That had to be more recent, no? What the hell? Oh, that's my thing.
COVID. Since I have Select, it'll go to TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, and a whole lot of other...
September 2020? Wow. I didn't even know it was that old. Interesting.
platforms. Be ready, it'll be coming.
Indeed, Josh would grace us with the release of his song on Spotify, and frankly, it's a beauty. During the 47-second runtime, he reminds us of just how good he had it in 20...
Roaring thunder through this night. Is it the night of the sky?
19, and how as soon as we entered 2020, our whole world came crashing down.
I remember 2019, living our best lives. New Year's Eve came along, looking forward to 2020. It marks the new decade. Everything was fine till March. Toilet paper shortage, quarantine, masks.
paper shortage.
Social distancing, no job, no school, no nothing. Lockdown,
True.
everything canceled.
This reminds me of a Grimes song. He should have just sold this to her.
Oh no.
This artful piece would end up netting him around 65,000 listeners on Spotify. With that initial
Jesus
success,
Christ.
Josh saw there was a potential for his music. So only a month later, he announced a new song on the 31st of December while he danced joyfully to a small excerpt.
Coffee and boba. That one can't do as well. It's not a gripping topic like the quarantine.
As for the song itself, it would also be released on Spotify. And if you thought the last one was life-changing, then you're not prepared for what I'm about to show you. It was a love ballad dedicated to, as the name suggests, coffee and boba tea.
Wow.
Wake up in the morning, throw some clothes on, check my phone, run out the door. Where do I go? Of course, to get some coffee and some boba tea.
Where the I kind of like that song. It's a little better, actually. Where the fuck is he getting boba tea? What? Tell me.
The song would end up doing better numbers on Spotify, getting around 130,000
I got a boba tea at Kong Dog the other day. That was pretty good.
hits. Seeing the monumental success,
Wait, how
Josh
many
felt
did that one
inclined to
get?
truly capitalize. Better numbers on Spotify, getting around 130,000
Wow, see, it was better. Well, look at that.
hits. Seeing the monumental success, Josh felt inclined to truly
Hey, it's me sitting on the computer. My ass really hurts. I gotta get a new chair. Is that a good song too? Should I do that one, or is it doesn't have enough passion in it? Probably not enough passion in it.
capitalize. He created his own website, registering it under the domain worldoftshirts.com on the 1st of February, later being changed to worldoftshirts.ai. The website serves a few purposes,
Cool.
advertising his music and selling his merch, which contains various memes and in-jokes from his community. But it's at this point that Joshua shifts his TikTok content pretty much entirely. And on the 14th of March 2021, already a few months after his initial blow-up, he uploaded a video of himself standing in Times Square, loudly singing Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z.
Oh, it was Jay-Z. Wait, did I say Kanye West or Jay-Z before? I'm so whatever, dude. I don't care. Or maybe I said Kanye West. Dude, I'm so confused with myself right now. I don't know. There's really no difference between the two, right?
Specifically the part sung by Alicia Keys, all while surrounded by a crowd of bemused onlookers.
In New York,
Yeah, his lack of self-awareness was what really propelled him to success on this one.
concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do. Now you're in New York.
This got him over 30 million views, setting the stage for exactly the kind of content we would expect. He was no longer creating content from the confines of his home. Instead, he was making the exact same thing, but out on the streets of New York, which made it even funnier because you got to see bystanders in the background look at him like, what the fuck are you doing? It's with this shift in location that our protagonist would reach the
Damn, he had the mask down too. It's fucked up.
peak of popularity.
Could you imagine Josh was doing the same thing as other people in New York do? Where they like dress in different costumes, maybe Mario costumes or Spider-Man or whatever they dress as, and he's like, "Oh, you want a picture?" and you get one, and then they harass you for money afterwards. I could see Josh doing that. I could see him having fights with those people as well, because it's got to be tough gig there. You got to get control over the streets. This is our turf, Joshua.
Gaining 640.
Oh yeah. And then I don't know what he's got Michael Quinn. He wouldn't really back him up. Michael Quinn's a pussy.
3,000 followers in March alone. His videos were getting millions of views, and his streams were attended by tens of thousands of people. While it's hard to say if he made any money, it probably wasn't nothing. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone
I don't remember if the creator fund was there back then. So
that this new style of content wouldn't just attract a lot of attention from online fans, but also people in real life who would regularly go on to meet him in public while he was filming. With such a recognizable appearance and cadence, he's pretty hard to
dude, this guy lives in Long Island too, I think. He takes a fucking train like every day to go to the city. It's weird. it's bizarre.
miss. Now, to most regular people, I'm sure the idea of constantly being harassed by fans doesn't sound that appealing, but for Josh, this was a catastrophe, one he wouldn't respond to in the healthiest manner. He would begin charging his fans $50 for the privilege of taking a photo with him.
Hey, why not, man? If they take the photo, go for it. Was he really charging 50? I thought he charged like 5 or 10.
With multiple videos being released of him basically demanding money from fans. Of these, perhaps the most popular is a video of him
Get that money, baby.
in Central Park, where a fan pays him to sing a song, with Josh looking even more dead-eyed than usual.
Yeah, New York.
Must have lowered his price, dude.
Concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do. Now you're in New York.
New York.
The response to this was very mixed. While the YouTube video that first shared this moment largely sided with Josh, there were other people in his own community who were baffled. This would culminate in his fans asking him why he charges people on a TikTok livestream. There, he would give a rather
Why not, man? You make the money. Who cares?
interesting response.
I charge my fans for photos because if I just take their picture, they're gonna get famous quickly for nothing.
Well, that's obviously a dumb rationale, but why not? He's famous. People want to talk to him. Charge $5 for a picture.
Of course, it's his prerogative to charge or not charge people for photos. I mean, if he tells them ahead of time, hey, you got to pay me to take a picture, they don't want to do it, it's whatever. I'm just curious what this response even means. Like, if you want money, say because I want money. Instead, it's they'll get famous
He might actually believe that, though. I think Josh actually believes what he's saying.
quickly for nothing.
He's probably thinking like they'll get famous if they. I think to him, it's like if you take if you take a picture with Josh or a video with Josh, you'll probably get a lot of views on your TikTok for that specific video. And I think to him, that means that you've gotten famous in some capacity. So he's like, yeah, they'll get famous. So like, I might as well charge, which I guess is an interesting rationale, but I wouldn't say that you're really getting famous off of that.
What does that mean? Despite
Dude, I didn't say Kanye or Jay-Z, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? I said Winton. Wait, that actually is the wrong meme for this scenario. That makes me even look even more racist. Okay.
this, he would actually catch some flack from his fans, as many of them view this habit of his as proof that he only sees his fans as a source of income. People especially took it.
Who cares if he only sees his fans as a source of income? Like, I enjoy my fans too, but like, what do you want? Do you want them to kiss you on the dick or something? Like, it's a parasocial. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoy this job. It's fantastic, and I like interacting with people on the stream, but you know, we're not close, guys, all right? Don't stop thinking that we're close, you fucking weirdos.
Issue with this comment about how he doesn't just want people blowing up in popularity.
I think he meant they're just trying to get clout from me. Maybe. I think I stand by my my assessment, my original assessment. I think that he thinks that if they get views, that makes them famous. But either way, he could charge if he wants. Like, why not doing a fan meet and greet? Like, people actually, surprisingly, even with like the how much I've shrunk, will still walk up to me occasionally. Like the mall the other day, I actually got two groups of people. They're like, "Oh, are you Papa God?" I was like, "Yeah." And they asked for a picture. I was like, "Sure." And I didn't charge them. I don't care. But I also have a different revenue stream that is good for me. So it's like whatever. I don't know if Josh has really figured out how to capitalize on like a solid revenue stream. So
for free, which they saw as him pulling up the ladder. That said, plenty of people still defend this practice, saying that part of why he likely does that is to dissuade random people from constantly approaching him. And the charging simply means that the only people he may get approached by are actual fans, at least in theory. It is worth noting he would later drop these prices, only charging $10 for pictures and $20 for videos. Of course,
I feel like that's not that bad. I feel like it's still a little pricey, man. $5 for pictures, $10 for a video seems more realistic to me, but
of course, this didn't actually stop people from taking pictures and videos of him in creepshot.
This is the one I was talking about, where he's just fucking stomping around New York.
Fashion. If anything, this only further emboldened them to sneakily try to video him and then upload those videos to their own TikToks, with some of these going downright viral. A TikTok user by the name of Fern would upload a video of Joshua walking down the street, making fun of his amusing stride. But none of this ever got in the way of his monumental rise in popularity. In fact, as time went on,
it probably helped his rise. It's just more exposure.
Seems a lot of people did genuinely start to root for him beyond just treating him as a lol cow. Even if many of the fans were intent on making fun of him, no one really thought of him.
I think that for the most part, I feel like even when there are lolcows, well, it depends on like how the person interacts with it. I think that people try to mean well sometimes, but the trolling just gets a little too bad.
Is like a negative guy or an evil person. He was just someone who was kind of silly and funny to watch. But his grandest moment was yet to come. It was a short while after the charging fans incident that he would orchestrate what many view as the high point of his entire career. On the 25th of May, 2021, just a few months after he had begun live streaming, he gathered his fans in Times Square for a unique event when one of the billboards began to show an advertisement for his channel while he called himself the King of the Concrete Jungle.
Yes, I remember this. I don't think that he paid for the billboard himself. I think somebody bought it for him as like a joke. It was like a funny little thing.
For anybody who's curious, a spot in Times Square could run you as little as $5,000 per day to as much as $50,000 per day depending on the ad and the length. Around this time, he would also do a small collaboration with a sizable YouTube channel called Side Talk, which focuses on interviewing people they meet while walking the streets. During this video, Josh does another rendition of the song that propelled him to stardom, gives a spicy hot take about school lunches, and charges one of the people present $25 for a photo.
Gotta get that grind, baby.
Notably, the video also includes one of the first, if not the first, use of a meme that will become rather popular on his channel, wherein he tells viewers that he's wearing Louis Vuitton because he was banned from Gucci. Overall, this first interview ended up being pretty successful.
I was banned from Gucci. I remember that one, baby. What a fucking legend. You gotta love it.
Successful, netting them 600,000 views and a pretty positive reception from commenters, who took the time to poke a little fun and also said that him only charging $25 was a blessing. The interview was so successful that Side Talk made another one just a few weeks later, where Josh once again wowed the crowd with his on-screen presence, and when told that 6ix9ine claimed the title of King of New York, Josh bluntly asserts that he is in fact the true king.
What do you want to say to 6ix9ine right now? He claims to be
Damn, he's gonna get himself fucking shot, man. You can't be saying that.
the King of New York.
I'm the King of New York. 6ix9ine is not the king.
Is that the Tekashi guy? I saw a funny clip where he went to some, I don't know, some gang area. I guess it was a rival area, and he was talking a bunch of shit. And then I think he was on Breakfast Club, and they're like, "You didn't stay for that long." They're like, "You were there for less than a minute." He's like, "I was there for less than like 15 seconds." He was just doing there to troll them. It was fucking weird. It's kind of funny.
I'm out here with no security because security's for quitters. I'm Moneybag Josh.
Just like last
Security's for quitters, guys. Fuck you, Pokemon. Reduce your security. What are you, a quitter? Are you afraid of something, Pokemon?
Time this one blew up, albeit not as much.
Did Amaranth get unbanned yet, by the way?
Following the success of these interviews, an unaffiliated song artist by the name of Felix Cartal would make the band from the Gucci store meme into a song, which, in fairness to the artist, is miles better than anything Josh has ever produced. Overall,
damn, Josh better have gotten like 25K for that, dude. He deserves it.
Despite this early hiccup with charging fans money, he used his time in the spotlight pretty well. And while many people did view him as more of a laughingstock than a genuine content creator, he had enough genuine viewers watching to get by. Around this time, he also began getting the attention of mainstream media, with online publications beginning to take notice. One of these would be posted on an internet news outlet called The Tab, in which the author would do a little deep dive on some of his history, including the controversy of demanding payments. They also brought up a very interesting claim, showing what the author believes to be an older TikTok account of Joshua's, and how around that time it had been reactivated, posting a very questionable meme. Hello, base department.
POV, when I find the guy from high school that used to record girls bending over and walking up the stairs. Oh my god, Josh, you're so relatable, dude. What the fuck? It's him. That's the joke.
Gonna need you guys to come down here. Now I should note that while it's interesting to ponder, it's very unlikely Josh would ever post something like this. For one, whenever he attempts to do humor, it's extremely different in comparison, and for two, there's a high likelihood he might not even be interested in that sort of stuff, at least if Reddit detectives are to be believed, referring to
what do you mean?
A screenshot of a dating app called Grindr on his home screen, as well as an interesting little clip where he suggests that he had been
he might be gay.
Banned from the app. Regardless, while this article made some leaps of logic, it was arguably just one more notch in Joshua's belt, proving just how solidly he had made himself part of mainstream culture by then. Unfortunately, things went sour pretty quickly after. Around early June, sometime prior to the second Side Talk video, Josh got together with a random fan, and the two decided to do some fishing in the Hudson River. While things started off innocent enough, they quickly turned into something far more sinister, when upon successfully catching a bluegill and pulling it out of the water, Josh proceeded to throw it on the ground forcefully and stomp on it like the lead singer of Sabaton.
Okay, interesting reference. It's funny because I actually remember reacting to this on TikTok, and I got like a ton of views for it too. I kind of feel bad. Like I wish I didn't go so hard on the guy. It was an unhinged moment though. He fucked that fish up, dude. But I think later it was found out that the guys were egging him on a little bit. But yeah, so.
All while bearing the happiest smile I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, everybody knows you can only like boys or girls.
The reason he gives in the video for being this brutal is he justifies it by saying a fish shouldn't spend time in such dirty water, ostensibly making this stomping
That's a good point.
action an act of mercy. After that, he continues to throw the fish on the ground.
I mean, he certainly stomps it. It's not like he doesn't slowly torture it to death like they do for food. He fucking kill. It's a mercy killing, I guess, if you look at it that way.
Repeatedly without saying a word, letting out a demented giggle. This, understandably, wouldn't go unnoticed, as the video quickly made waves around TikTok, with re-uploads of it getting upwards of.
How interesting is that? If my TikTok wasn't banned, I'd probably be part of like half the fucking videos on the internet. Because I think I had the most popular video criticizing him for it. But I'm happy it doesn't go up, to be honest with you, because I you know, it probably was like a little too harsh. It wasn't very understanding of a video, probably.
1 million views. It would also be uploaded to r/public freakout, where it got quite a bit more attention, with hundreds of comments asking how a person could do such a cruel thing. Largely, they pondered what
Josh, why would you do this to a fish?
kind of mental disorder he
You guys are just as smart. No, I'm just kidding. That's fucked up. That was terrible. Don't cut that out of the video.
was suffering from that would convince him this was a good idea, or, you know, make him enjoy this. Well, it's hard to track just how large the backlash against him was at the time. It was clearly bad enough to where Josh felt the need to respond to it, which
he did. He apologized for the fish. I think he apologized to the fish too, but he apologized for killing the fish. So thanks, Josh. Appreciate that.
he would do in a now deleted TikTok. He defended himself by saying that the fish was already dead, which in his mind made it far less serious than it previously appeared. He also
Pretty sure it was still alive, but okay.
complained about how it had been filmed without his permission, as the fan had not actually paid him to record.
Okay, so a lot of
very base.
people are upset about a leaked video of
I need my own button. I have a button. I have one of those silver buttons.
me stomping on a fish. First of all, the fish was already dead. The person who recorded me without my permission. They didn't pay the Cameo, so they weren't even supposed to record me.
Damn, Cameo. I haven't used that in like years.
But they posted it
That is true. To be fair, he's a king of New York. That's a good point, actually.
to set me up so that they would have an excuse to try and cancel
TaylorMade
me.
became a member.
Oh, is this the refreshable memberships? Yeah, it is.
I did not kill anything. The fish was already dead.
Given the original had been deleted,
I
we
killed
can probably assume
Joshua.
it was not well received by the public. The re-upload I showed was released around the same time as this whole drama was occurring. And the comment section is pretty much all disapproval, going as far as to suggest his behavior was a clear example of animal abuse, which can be a telling sign of a potential serial killer. The other more rational commenters focus on the fact that he doesn't seem to even understand why what he'd done was wrong in the first place.
Yeah,
The whole
that's
drama
probably
would actually make its way onto YouTube, where the clip of him stomping out a fish made some waves. While not as big as it was in other places, you had some relatively large YouTubers like Mitchell Reacts covering it. Right around the time this fish video was released, the explosive growth of Joshua's TikTok stopped altogether. Although whether this is because of the drama he was finding himself in, or simply because people had lost interest, can't be said for certain. What can be said for
But you want want to see the play button? It's right there, guys. My play button. Here, you want to see? You can't really see it when it's this, but I've had this for a while. Like, yeah, I don't really care. It's cool, but I don't necessarily care. You can see what's on my screen. Am I looking at porn? Oh fuck! Yeah, there it is. In case you guys didn't believe me, it's pretty cool, I guess. You know. Okay, let's continue.
For certain is that same month, Josh went on to achieve something quite important in his personal life. He graduated from high school. Many viewers may note of the fact he was almost 20 at the time of graduation, which confirms he was held back at least a year. But despite the minor bit of good news, Josh wasn't quite done with June. While doing a TikTok live stream in a hotel room,
or goon,
he was doxxed live on air as he received a call on the room's landline saying exactly
I think they bothered the shit out of that hotel.
where he was located at the time. Understandably, this led to a bit of a freak out on his end as he spun about the room like a chicken with his head cut off. This whole situation
wasn't wrong. It was totally wrong. What are you talking about? He stomped the fuck out of a fish. I think that's terrible. But I just don't think he necessarily understood what he was doing to the same degree as you or I.
Situation escalated even further when at some point Josh was kicked out of the hotel entirely after the supposed doxer had convinced the hotel staff that he'd made a bomb threat. The interaction he has with the fan who recorded the video ends up being pretty amusing, as even with a stressful situation, Josh is still committed to the hustle, accepting $50 for giving the fan a privilege to film. But that wasn't quite the end of it.
Hey, good guy, smart guy, man.
As the whole fish stomping incident began to pop up again, but not in the way you might think. People began to mass flag the World of T-Shirts TikTok account, which led
did he get temporarily banned?
to a temp ban in late July. As a result, he brought the Starbucks Club channel back to life and uploaded a teary-eyed apology where he begged for his account to be unbanned, giving a more thorough explanation of the bluegill bonanza.
Okay,
The bluegill bonanza is terrible.
I'm sorry about the fish. It was a wrong thing for me to do, to stomp that fish. Please, just...
I'm thinking that fish might have actually started World War III, so to be honest with you, maybe Josh saved the fucking world and we don't even know it.
Get me my account back. It was my livelihood and they just took it away.
True,
This clip actually can't be
True, I need the same apology. Guys, they took away my YouTube. Fuck, my TikTok. Give it back, dude. What the fuck?
found on TikTok anymore.
Actually, don't give it back, honestly, at this point. Like, that shit's probably cursed.
Although we can't exactly be sure why that is. If I were a betting man, then I'd bet my money on it being pretty poorly received, given he sounds less apologetic and more whiny than anything. Meanwhile, on YouTube, this situation wasn't exactly covered extensively,
Curly Daddy. Oh my god.
but I did find one pretty interesting development. The most
Hey, fuck you, dude. You know that I made a video about it, you cuck. You motherfucker. I know that you like to mention me. What are you, tired of it?
popular video available about the subject was made by a fairly large TikToker by the name of Curly Daddy 101. He would release a video discussing the topic.
Wow, Curly Daddy 101. Shout out, dude. I know that guy. We're friends. I'd say we're friendly. We haven't really talked too much lately. I think he's going through it, to be honest with you. But okay.
Got a small YouTube channel, which includes the now deleted apology. In it, CD claims to be a friend of Joshua's, although he doesn't go into any real specifics regarding this. He tells us
I think he hung out with Josh a little bit and talked to him, but it's just too much energy for him to like do a tone about it. That's what I know about it. Because it's just like too much for him to like constantly it's too much for him to like constantly be there for him, you know what I mean?
that he'd been talking to Josh about his fears of getting banned because of getting repeated violations for supposedly unknown reasons. CD even claims to have contacted TikTok.
Super chatted $5. Should TikTok, YouTube, etc. have a rule against autistic people having accounts, or what should we do to prevent people turning them into lol cows?
Well, I think that it might be a little bit unfair to completely stop people with intellectual developmental disabilities from having TikTok or YouTube. I understand what you're saying, because there was actually, this is like a fact, you could look this up. There was a time where TikTok and YouTube, or excuse me, TikTok specifically, I don't know about YouTube, were suppressing people with disabilities on the algorithm to prevent them from getting bullied. And the conversation goes to, well, if you're suppressing them, like that takes away an opportunity for them to do something that everybody else does, which is to, you know, have a TikTok. So do I think that's the way to go? Probably not. I mean, there's the way to go is to just try to advocate for a more sensitive society. I mean, there's nothing else you can really do, because that's oppressive in a different light. If you're stopping it for them, if you're stopping them from being able to do anything or be able to post. So yeah, that wouldn't really be a solution. First time listener here, just want to let you know I'm joining the stream and that your staunch advocacy for fish rights has led me to reevaluate my life. Wow, I really appreciate that. I'm happy that I'm having a positive impact on the fucking fish. Gotta love it. Gotta love the fish, baby. Hey, I'm a feminist, you know what I mean? I love smelly fish. Watching for like a year. Just want to say thanks for the content and your nuanced perspective. I'm only 22 and you helped me out a lot. Thank you. I appreciate it. Also, the Levins are coming, he says. Not the Leviathans, the Levins. Okay. Thank you.
TikTok regarding this to try and put Josh's mind at ease. Largely, the video's purpose is to publicly show support for Josh, as he argues the reason he was banned was entirely unjust, given the fish stomping incident was never uploaded on the World of T-Shirts account, meaning TikTok never should have taken any action against him. CD also gives an emphatic defense of Joshua's character, arguing he was clearly not all there, while gleefully stomping on the bluegill. He concludes with a lengthy diatribe, lamenting how TikTok had become a completely anti-free speech platform, where people are not allowed to express themselves in any way that's deemed even slightly offensive to the blue hair.
Bro, you know what? In all honesty, I feel like Curly, he got so big for doing like funny like theater humor. I know he does like commentary now. I feel like he would do so well if he really committed to some kind of a gay, like a Let's Play channel or something. Maybe even with me, you know what I'm saying? Like, who would have thought? I don't know, man. What do you think about that? What is this?
Haired mob. He also gives a dire warning to TikTok that if they don't loosen up on their policies, people will eventually abandon the platform. As much as I wish that was true, nobody actually cares about censorship.
What, we wish that TikTok would die? Yeah, I don't know about that.
Unfortunately, people are just going to keep using it. The video received a fairly warm reception, with most of the people in the comments coming out in support of it, as well as in support of Joshua himself. From this point on, the timeline gets a little bit confusing, not least of all because there doesn't seem to be much archived info on the subject. From what I could gather, Josh would get his account back sometime around August, at which point things went back to normal. The second channel would upload a random...
Bro, I wonder if he's got the story where Josh like licks the floor of a fucking subway car. It's so disgusting, dude. That's when I knew that this, like, he was really spiraled. That's the true spiral point, man. It was terrible.
Promo for his website, as well as a short update about how he would no longer accept any photo or video taking requests after 5 p.m. But as we get to the end of August, the fish drama flares up.
I try not to drink any caffeine after 5 p.m. Get old.
Once again, as a TikTok of him walking gets a community guideline strike, which he attributes to a mass flagging attempt by his haters. The response was pretty mixed. While some people in the comments seemed to support him, a lot of others still held a big grudge against him for the bluegill thing, with some going as far.
One of them says that the Leviathans are coming. Holy shit.
As to encourage him being harassed as a way of justice. As he continued posting these pleas for help,
it's what we call virtue bullying.
It seems more and more people turned against him.
I mean, this is a bigger issue. Like, it's shitty that people do this, but it's a bigger issue that TikTok allows people to do this. That TikTok is so lazy and lax on their like their monitoring of stuff that this shit happens. It's actually insane, and they got worse. They used to be able to appeal things and give an explanation as to why. Now you can just appeal things, but you can't give yourself a description as to why it deserves to be appealed. It's very annoying. Because back in the day, most of my videos didn't get taken down, and I used to, like, when they did, I would be able to put an appeal in with a reason, and they would, they would typically be cool with it. So,
as the comment section of the later videos are completely swamped with people who outright hate the guy.
Is that Joe
This
Rogan?
video in particular has a few comments calling him out for only responding to some random dude who asked if he could still donate. After posting another TikTok where he advertises merchandise, he would post a quasi-conclusion to the whole saga, albeit a very, very vague one. Displayed is a screenshot taken from some sort of legal chat room, where Josh is being advised on how he could potentially sue TikTok for discrimination on the basis of his condition.
Maybe.
It's hard to say when exactly.
I will say one thing. I'm not entirely sure why this video doesn't mention that Josh has autism. I don't really understand why that's not like the beginning of the video. I think that it would have been a reasonable thing to provide for context, and I don't know why this video doesn't do that. I don't really understand some of the lolcow coverage from Turkey Tom. Like, it's so, sometimes it just, I don't know, some of it just feels a little bit like intentionally unnuanced. Is that cringe to say like that? Like, why not just be like, yeah, he's like a young man with autism. It's something to think about. And he doesn't have like the silly, quirky TikTok autism where people just sometimes miss a sentence. He has like autism that is, has a pretty significant impact on his life. So it's kind of annoying. Like, I think it's something to keep in mind. I think it's something that needs to be there for context, because it also explains a little bit about his, the fish stomping, maybe like that lack of understanding of that societal value. Because I could see why he, like, I could see why he doesn't necessarily care about a fish. It's not a mammal, I hope, right? Whales are mammals. So there's less empathy points to connect with. Like, people are usually more empathetic to like dogs and whatnot. It's just a fish, and also it's food, right? So it's just like, you know what I mean? It would have been, he has nonverbal? What? I don't think he has nonverbal. He talks pretty well. What are you talking about? He's nonverbal. I don't know. Unless I just don't know what that means. There's no way. Anyway, I think that would have been good context to provide. I don't know why he doesn't provide it. It's a little weird.
But at some point after this video was released, the World of T-Shirts channel...
I heard he has writers. Might explain it. I don't think it matters that he has writers. I think that it would have been like, hey, you know what we should have at the beginning of this? This guy's fucking autism.
was actually reinstated. There's no way to tell if these two things are connected, but it's honestly more likely that after his appeal succeeded...
It actually might be weirdly connected. One, Josh probably would never sue. I don't know if he talks about suing people all the time. It's like it's a continuous thing. But two, TikTok was under a lot of fire about suppression of black viewership, which wasn't true. People just didn't want to engage with black political commentary because it was boring. Like, people just didn't want to engage with most political commentary, to be honest with you. Other than there's like the big, like there are some really popular black creators, like Cabby Lame is probably the most popular black creator, like with over 100 million followers. I probably more than that now, although over 100 million is pretty whatever. Anyway, but it was the political black creators were complaining that they don't get enough views, but it's just because it's like because you're doing politics, and you know, it's so. And so in that, they were already getting pressure for that. They probably didn't want it to turn into like some kind of a disabilities pressure as well. So I really wouldn't doubt that that could be it. The threat alone could have just been like, okay, this is exhausting. Let's just unban this fucking guy, put him on some kind of special protection from being mass reported or something. So
there simply wasn't anyone else who cared enough to flag his content again, or the systems finally kicked in and realized that he wasn't really doing anything bad on TikTok. That, or maybe, if you want to be conspiratorial, his implied legal threat actually worked. But to be honest, I doubt that TikTok is afraid of Joshua Block. Either way, he went back to doing what he knew best, recording himself walking through New York while...
Because you never know how these narratives will blow up. It depends on how woke people are at the time. Like, are you woke enough to fucking, you know, talk about this? You know what I mean? Like, are you feeling woke enough to be a disabilities advocate back then? Maybe I would have been if I was more in tune with my understanding of people in the IDD community back then. Maybe I would have been on it and be like, hey, leave the guy alone, TikTok.
Being obnoxious. Following his success and getting his main account back.
Hey, stop. I'm coming for you, Leviathans.
Josh would partner up with a small YouTube channel called Apex Primary to create a documentary about him, in which we found out some very interesting information. This mini-doc covers quite a breadth of topics, most of which I don't really care about, from discussing how autism can affect children's development and their ability to socialize.
Hey, we finally got the autism recognition. Like, indirectly.
With Josh's teachers in high school who sang praises of the young man. There are a few interesting tidbits here, though. Firstly, we get a full...
Or maybe he didn't say autism explicitly in the beginning because he thought it might be demonetize this video. I don't know.
Confirmation that Josh himself is on the spectrum and that he had gone through a restrictive curriculum throughout his early years. Not that we couldn't really tell he was on the spectrum, but now it's officially confirmed. We also learn the identity of the mysterious figure looming from the April interview. Apparently, it's actually Joshua's grandfather, who goes by the name of Vincent Lisa.
I think he might have passed away.
Amid all of the bloviating comments about how successful Josh has been, we also find out that he's actually been an entrepreneur of sorts ever since the 10th grade, when he officially created 2 different online storefronts.
You know, it's interesting. That reminded me, there's some dude that has Down syndrome that makes socks. I don't know why this reminded me of that. Down syndrome socks. That's what I Googled. John's Crazy Socks. Fucking shout out to John's Crazy Socks, guys. I don't know why I remember this. I don't know why. It just popped into my head. Shout outs.
Including the World of T-Shirts and all things luxury. These were both created via a website called cafepress.com, which is basically like a super simple e-shop that allows you to create your own storefronts to sell your merch. To answer the question I'm sure you all have, yes, he named his TikTok account after a virtual...
Don't do it, Hop. I gotta have a bunch of trolls after me because I said you shouldn't bully people with autism. Well, I talk about that topic fairly off, like somewhat frequently. People or cry about it every once in a while and then they leave, like, go away. Like, it is what it is. I don't really... Yeah, I don't think it's that much of an issue.
Storefront, which he actually confirms for us when he tells us he had reused the name for his TikTok account in order to further promote his t-shirt selling business. There aren't really any archives of these websites, so we can't be sure what these shops used to sell. What we can be sure of, though, is that nowadays they both seem like an extension of his own personalized merch store on the World of T-Shirts website. Selling
your family gets some of the best socks. Oh.
Such worthwhile items as World of T-Shirts portrait design baby football bodies and World of T-Shirts
incredible fucking underwear. I gotta get those for my wife.
Portrait design women's boy briefs, as well as, and I kid you not, tens of thousands of other items. I don't even know.
Tens of thousands? Is that real?
Where all these came from. When you actually scroll...
I would make like maybe a hat or a mug, something small, but I haven't really got around to doing it.
Scroll through these items, you'll realize most...
Yo, are you gonna watch Charlie Kirk on the whatever podcast? Oh, maybe, actually. Yeah, maybe. When is that?
Most of them are pretty much the same, with the exact same designs being put on multiple different kinds of items, and the same kinds of items being sold with only mildly differing designs. It does make you wonder what the actual business model of these websites even is, given that 95% of these products probably haven't been sold even once. Interestingly, Joshua has deemed these 2 e-shops enough of a success that he lists them on his personal LinkedIn profile, where he names himself the CEO of the 2 respective stores since March 20...
CEO of Cum?
17. Notably, he also mentions how he's been the CEO of something called Joshua's ATT Corp. This company is actually listed on the Real Yellow Pages website, where it's described as a tech support service. It also links to what seems to be the actual website of the company, which says pretty much the same thing. Now, Joshua has been listed as CEO of the company since early 2014, when he would have been
Damn, big CEO, baby. $100.
Only 12 years old. Given that you can't even get a work permit until you're 15, it should probably go without saying that the listing is not accurate, to put it mildly, and it's more likely the website was run by his family, possibly his grandfather. This also puts into question how much time he...
I mean, it's good. I mean, it might be like a level of a special interest for him, and it allows him to put like productive energy into something. So I don't think it's all bad.
Actually puts into managing these storefronts. Add that to the fact he spends most of his days wandering about New York, and it's more likely he only has his name attached to the shops for feel-good points, or perhaps advertising, but there's no way he's actually running them. As the documentary goes on, we also find out a little bit more about his personal life. Among other things, we find out his mother, who was a sole guardian growing up, passed away due to ovarian cancer in 2015.
Oh, is that who passed away? Okay.
When Josh was either 13 or 14 years old. Josh's father had attempted to take care of him, but due to his inability to do so, his grandfather opted to get full legal custody. The video ends on
inability to do so. It must have been something special going on there, or something fucked up, you know?
A positive note, with a rather hopeful outlook on what the future has in store for Joshua. The documentarians seem to feel he was just a silly guy who wanted to enjoy life and have fun on TikTok. For the time
probably, yeah.
Being Josh was doing very well. While he was nowhere near the peak he had once occupied, he was still doing fairly solid numbers.
Yeah, I mean, nobody is from 2020, right? That's like, there is a wholly unique situation that I don't know if I'll even see again in my lifetime.
And while some people had been turned off by his fish stomping, the audience he had seemed to be unaware of this or just didn't care. As 2021 lingered on,
I feel like everybody should be able to move past dumb shit.
Josh got more attention from the mainstream media, with various...
We all have our bouts of silly goosery, huh?
Online publications releasing articles about him. The attention was all pretty positive, focusing on the fact that he's found so much success online despite the fact that he's autistic. After that, there wasn't really much to report on for a while, because Josh was pretty drama-free throughout 2020.
Dude, I don't even do this at all. At the corner of my eye, I saw this picture, I thought it was fucking Bo Flags.
Me too. Doing pretty much the same exact kind of content you would expect him to make. Walking around New York, recording song covers or parodies or lip sync.
Bro, this is the video right here where he licks the fucking floor. You better not skip over this one. You better be very explicit about how this was like the beginning of the fucking end for Josh. This shit was disgusting, and it shows like a real downward spiral where he was doing anything for views. This one was like really bad.
And just having a fun time. Unfortunately, things began to change drastically when Josh turned 21.
Just kind of randomly threw that clip in there of him licking the floor. I feel like that was a big turning point, man. That one was terrible. That's when he like really, people were like, dude, what is, like, are you okay?
Well, prior to this, he had never been known to abuse substances in any way. It said this.
Then he became like an actual addict, which is apparently like some of an issue for people within the IDD community, is getting like addicted to substances.
At this point, that a new side of him began to emerge. Josh started to drink copious amounts of alcohol. It started off as
yeah, part of his tours that I mentioned before, he would charge you for his like Josh tour. He would like walk you around New York. And part of the tour, though, was that he would collect extra money from you, and then he would buy everybody drinks. They would all get fucked up. Did like a regular like bar he would go to and everything. It was weird.
What worrying aside to him as a person, but quickly turned into a centerfold of his entire brand. Eventually, people began tuning in for no other reason than to see the kind of shenanigans Josh would get up to while hammered. Conversely, this led to Josh
I wonder if we'll see the Daniel Larson Josh crossover. That was very brief.
Creating even more content in order to sate his fans' newfound desire to see him drunk, as he began to release dozens of videos where he was drinking himself silly or already very drunk and acting crazy. He would do the same on streams, where we got to see more of his raw, unfiltered self. This is all despite the fact that, at least in the beginning, he clearly wasn't very good at handling alcohol, probably because he never even had a sip of it prior to turning 21.
What the hell is happening to me? I think I'm gonna be...
Dude, there was one, oh my god, it's gotta be in this video. There was a moment where the dude throws up like horribly into a cup of alcohol, and then he fucking drinks it. It was absolutely, it was disgusting, bro. It was so horrible, man. This is terrible.
Sick. Oh.
This stream archive in particular is quite noteworthy. Besides displaying just how inexperienced Joshua was at this point with drinking, it includes at least one interesting tidbit.
I'm sorry for everything bad I did. I'm sorry. Please, if I die, don't send me to hell. So sorry. I'm so sorry for stomping on that fish. I'm so sorry.
I think people were in there just spamming about the fish, that's why.
I promise I'll never do anything like that.
It's bad, dude.
This may actually be the first time he'd ever given a genuine apology for the whole fish incident. While he's obvious...
That's not necessarily true. Just to be clear, just because he has a more of a deadpan way of communicating doesn't make his older videos any less like genuine. You know what I mean? He just has a different way that he delivers information. I mean, he might not have been genuine, but I'm just saying.
Obviously inebriated, it does make one wonder how he actually feels about it, or if he actually does understand how what he had done was wrong.
I think if anything, he's probably more upset that he's getting a tremendous amount of backlash, and probably just struggles to understand exactly why. I don't think anybody has ever had him down and tried to get to where he try to get in his headspace to understand from his perspective what he did or had done. I don't think anybody's like, hey, so Josh, like what, just understanding the different experiences, like what is his value of life? What is his value of fish in relation to people? How much empathy he casts onto them, etc. So, I mean, he may not necessarily care. He probably cares more about getting bullied about it.
Or perhaps it's just a drunk person drunkenly rambling. This new habit of his would only become more uncontrollable as time went on, with every subsequent stream becoming more and more unhinged. One good example is present in this clip, where he's being aggressively encouraged to consume more drinks while in a club bathroom as he pees on stream without even a hint of shame. However, things did not truly hit a fever pitch until Josh made a brand new friend, Michael Quinn. To give you
Dude, Michael, I was going to say make a joke about fever piss, but anyway, Michael Quinn's a real scumbag.
A little introduction to Michael Quinn. He's a man somewhere between 40 to 60 years old, whose greatest genuine claim to fame is inheriting a company by the name of Feltman's Hot Dogs, which is the name
Is that what he owns?
Jess is famous for selling hot dogs. In fact, the company was so famous that it would eventually land him a TV interview on NBC. He's also a bit of a TikToker in his own right, although to call him that in earnest would be to give TikTokers a bad name. If you think that's somehow possible, with a grand total...
I'm pretty sure this guy, he's a rich guy that only attached himself to Josh because he wants to be he wants a level of fame. It's not about the money. He just wants to have a level of fame, and that's his entire relationship with Josh.
Of 720 followers, and a few more across his other social media accounts. He truly was a nobody prior to meeting Josh, at least in terms of having...
I thought, and maybe I'm wrong about this, I thought the throwing up onto the cup incident came before this. Did he miss that? Did he miss the thing where Josh throws up into the cup? I wonder if I could find it.
A following. But they met at some point in late 2022, at which point he and Michael would start to make content together. Some of the early videos seemed innocent enough, including featuring on a YouTube channel called Flavors of New York. However, things quickly devolved. And while there would be some scattered collabs like this, their focus quickly changed to where the real money was. At some point, Josh would hire Michael as his personal...
Is this the video here? Should I even play this? Yeah, this is where he throws up into the cup. I think this is it. Oh, this is gonna be it. Oh, dude, I should even show this. Oh my god, it's so bad. Dude, I really should. Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, yeah. Yep. 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 And he's gonna take a drink from it now. Yeah. Jesus Christ, brother. That's when you gotta stop. Or you gotta wash it down. Maybe you gotta wash it down, buddy. Maybe that's really what you need to do. Yep, and there he goes. He's gonna put it. He's gonna go for it again. Yeah, yeah. Oh, he's okay. Oh, why would I even do that, bro? Why would I even play that, dude? What the fuck? Holy shit! I'm pretty sure that was before the Michael Quinn era, but you could correct me if I'm wrong about that. Yeah, he's recycling. Yeah, he's just like a fly, brother. He's just breaking it down.
Manager, wherein he would take a percentage of Josh's personal revenue in exchange for, as far as I can tell, pretty much...
Is that actually true? Does he have a level of revenue investment to that too?
And while there would be some scattered collabs like this, their focus quickly changed to where the real money was. At some point, Josh would hire Michael as his personal manager, wherein he would take a percentage of Josh's...
Was that when he was on Barstool for a moment?
His personal revenue in exchange for, as far as I can tell, pretty much doing nothing, other than following Josh around and encouraging him to drink more. Michael would quickly begin appearing in Josh's videos, perhaps being even more of a nuisance than Josh himself. He would regularly enable every bad behavior Josh engaged in, egging him on to get as many views as possible, no matter...
Yeah, he was just connecting himself for attention. Like, Michael Quinn's a real scumbag. He's a piece of shit. Like, he really is.
...the cost to his well-being or dignity. It wasn't long before Michael was absolutely reviled in the world of t-shirts community. While people on TikTok would always welcome an opportunity to make Joshua do even more dumb things, the world of t-shirts subreddit was not nearly so polite towards him. And over the next few months, he would get absolutely railed by both Reddit and YouTube, with most of the criticism centering around the fact that he's basically just a clout leech, trying to siphon as much fame out of Josh as he possibly can. Naturally, Mike would go out of his way to defend himself from these haters, and he did so in the best way he knew how. Poorly. He would make a number of videos on his personal TikTok account, most of which are deleted today, where he would basically make the argument that he's actually helping Josh and others whom he works with. He would also regularly make the argument that he's actually trying to moderate just how much Josh drinks, with Josh
absolutely not
himself drunkenly telling us that he only vomits when he's drinking alone. Of course, not a whole lot of people really took that defense very seriously. Pretty much the entire following that he would get from Josh were people who hated his guts, occupying the comment sections of his TikToks. But the hate campaign didn't stop there. Entire channels would pop up whose sole purpose was to document him and his behavior.
Feldman hot dog, that's what it
is. In particular, a TikTok channel called Quinning2 would start re-uploading TikToks from Michael's personal account, as well as dozens of clips from the TikTok.
It's crazy because there's other people that want to, like, other people in the IDD community that want to attach themselves to Michael Quinn for like a level of fame. It's one of those things where as any creator, it's a difficult relationship to have with doing worse than you were, like, you know, only a couple months ago. And it takes it takes a while to understand, especially if you're more on a line. Like if you're somebody that's like super rich, probably don't worry about this as much, although you probably do still worry about it. But it takes a while to understand like what your median income is and your like general income range is, and figuring out, because you're gonna have ups and downs, and what's your middle point, and being consistent. And that takes a while. Like, even for me, it's like, I'll freak out sometimes. But there's just like low content periods, and then there's low monetization periods. Like January is a low monetization period because there aren't as many ads to go around. Like it was just the holiday season. You were getting more money on ads then because it's Christmas, and now people are a little like money burnt. They're a little burnt out on spending. They're burnt out on spending, right? And people like Josh or other people in the IDD community that don't necessarily know why they blew up, which is like a lot of times for a level of them being a lol cow kind of. They don't know how to engage with it, and they end up acting. I'm looking for something on my desk. I know I'm like so scatterbrained. And they end up acting like less than ideal. And then you take another issue in, which is the fact that the landscape on TikTok has changed as well, where again, you don't get monetized for 15-second videos anymore. You have to do minute plus. And that's not something that is necessarily understood of like, okay, I have to change my monetization strategy to be able to adjust with this, and then seeing YouTube shorts. And the biggest reason why TikTok is able to now no longer monetize videos under a minute is because, and get away with it, is because if you're making a short for YouTube, which pays well, 45%, then you're going to put it up on TikTok anyway, right? So that's their logic when it comes to that. And the reason that they're only doing a minute and plus is because they're trying to have like a competitive market with longer form content with TikTok, YouTube. It's like their first bit. So there's so many different working parts. Michael Quinn is a fucking idiot that has no understanding of any of this. Josh hasn't figured out like a reasonable, like actual revenue stream idea consistently. He doesn't produce any content of like any substance, and that's not trying to be rude. It's just kind of like a throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks. So he just kind of like that's what his relationship is with that, and I think that that's why he's so willing to connect himself to Michael Quinn. And then there's other people like Ryan Trout. 4% of what? Of ad revenue. And then there's like that are trying to like, oh, I want to be part of Michael Quinn because they see that they get more views around Michael Quinn and that there's more buzz when they work with Michael Quinn. But it's not necessarily good or productive or intelligent or decent. Because Michael Quinn's a scum fuck piece of shit. So yeah. There's that.
TikTok lives, capturing the craziest moments. This account would not be the only one to accuse Michael of being an out-and-out gooner. A post on the World of T-Shirts subreddit would make the same argument, highlighting an interaction from a live stream between Michael and Joshua, which sadly hadn't been archived. The post recounts how Michael was clearly trying to make Josh drink as much as possible by drinking alongside him, goading him into doing shots, in between telling Josh to defend him from the haters. The post also mentions how, for an upcoming trip to Paris, if it was okay for Michael to pay for everything and then give Joshua some extra allowance, which the commenter called sugar daddy behavior. The internet would throw a lot more accusations at Michael Quinn. On the Daniel Larson wiki, Michael
There's I thought that collab. Oh, I guess the collab happened after Michael Quinn. Okay.
Has an entire article dedicated to him, where he's accused of being a substance abuser who's addicted to either benzos or coke. Claims like these are mostly based on a number of, let's just say, very memorable appearances. On multiple occasions, he would go on TikTok Live and look absolutely off.
I'm pretty sure he would fucking like just throw out a bunch of slurs.
His rocker. One of these, helpfully enshrined on Reddit, sees Michael talking to someone of very vaguely Mediterranean descent. While we don't know the full context of this clip, what it shows is very telling, as Michael lays into them with some very harsh words, including the repeated use of the N-word with the hard R.
Yep, that's a clip. I think I remember that guy. That guy was like a TikTok prince. It was like a meme.
All while looking completely stoned or hammered out of his mind. Wait, is Michael Quinn actually based? This video, as well as others, quickly led to even more backlash, and it made the Reddit detectives go into overdrive trying to figure out what kind of drugs he's on. One commenter noted it's most likely benzos mixed with alcohol. I'm not a medical expert.
Yeah, that's a seasoned man's preferred drink of choice, I guess you'd say, or a drug of choice.
Try to take these comments with a pinch of salt. This is Reddit after all, but it's possible, I guess. Regardless of the veracity of these claims, what matters here is that the backlash against Michael simply kept growing. And as time went on, more and more things about him would come to the limelight. People found all kinds of interesting factoids when they began to dig into his personal history, where they found that he actually used to be a substitute teacher.
Michael Quinn getting bullied as substitute teacher.
Okay, this is not gonna go on anymore. Enough.
Wow, what a tough guy. He's making me so horny.
Okay, at the learn hat.
Eventually, this—
Yeah, I don't doubt it. That's like abusive behavior. Makes perfect sense. Like, teachers who yell like that, it's that, in my opinion, I don't know. Or you just don't have the constitution to be able to fucking deal with these kids that are going to be rambunctious. Yeah, I mean, like, listen, I don't doubt that he's an abusive person, like a horribly, like, intentionally abusive person. He's a piece of shit. He takes advantage of Josh, like, all the time, so.
This backlash entered the YouTube sphere, where it extended from just mocking Michael and actually was redirected to even further attention getting on Josh. A number of videos came out discussing Josh's obvious drinking problem, mostly by small YouTubers, as there was never exactly a mainstream drive behind any of these. Still, you had small
Let's get laid. Or Zaid gets laid. That's what
creators like Zaid Gets Laid making comprehensive critiques of the guy, sharing Joshua's rapid descent into degeneracy. This is where CD re-enters the picture.
CD's nut.
He would initially post a video on his TikTok channel where he criticized Michael for enabling Joshua's alcohol habit, making
I think he got a lot of backlash for that too.
the point that he clearly had the resources to genuinely help him, but that he simply didn't care to do so.
I've been reluctant to make this video, but I'm going to. I was on this guy Michael Quinn's live stream last night when he was drinking with World of T-shirts on a Monday. I have to say, I do take an issue with you paying for World of T-shirts as drinks when he's obviously a struggling alcoholic. This guy says he wants to help Josh, yet publicly contributes to his downward spiral into alcoholism. Okay, so you pay for his phone bill. Great. Do you want a cookie? The fact is,
yeah, it means nothing to him to pay for his phone bill. I think it's just another level of control. Hey, I pay for your thing, so like you have to do XYZ for me. I really think that's all it is. I don't think it's done in any good faith or well-meaning anything. It's just more of a level of control. Because there are people who do nice things for people to do nice things. Michael Quinn's not one of them, in my opinion, at least. And since I'm the smartest man ever, you know, obviously I'm right.
you've probably done irreversible damage to Joshua's life. You have the ability and resources to probably get Josh some help, but I do not think you care or want to.
It's not even about getting Josh help. You have, like, he just has the ability to not get Josh, like, put him in a worse scenario. And that's what he's doing. He's consistently putting him into a more dangerous scenario by, like, feeding into his addiction.
I firmly believe that if Josh had friends his own age that were good influences on him, that he would be all right.
While it was a fairly harmless video compared to the other accusations, it seems this one got a lot more attention, as Michael himself took notice of it. In a now-deleted TikTok, he said CD was dead to Joshua, hinting at their former friendship. At the same time, another large TikToker
CD's nuts.
called Ryan the Lion, who also
I was talking about Ryan before. Yep, that's Ryan Trout.
happens to be within Michael's cadre of friends, would reply to it, effectively dismissing the accusations. This, along with some other
It's sad, man. You know, he's getting manipulated by it too, and I know that Ryan's struggling with his own addiction right now. Like I see the thing, like I see the guy spiral. It's like, what can he really do? You know, his family's trying to help him out, and he's like addicted to alcohol, so he's in a rehab facility right now for Ryan, at least. And he's upset because his parents don't want him to drink anymore, and they want him to come back home and live with their free, from my understanding. And he's like, no, they won't let me drink or have fun. I was like, yeah, you shouldn't. You're in fucking rehab. You know, he's spiraling out of control. And there's like references or mentions of Michael Quinn, of like, I wish I could work with Michael Quinn kind of stuff. And it's like, dude, like, it's a lot. It's just fucking crazy, man. The shit's fucked up. Michael Quinn is like a truly negative influence. He's a truly terrible person, like worse than probably any other person. Some of the worst on the internet. Like he's just a bad guy.
Comments led CD to release a much more in-depth video on his YouTube channel. In this scathing critique, he admits that he wasn't really acquainted with Josh at this point. Still, he goes on to defend him, arguing that his alcoholism is entirely
he says that he wasn't acquainted with Josh. I feel like that can't be true. Him and Josh are like fairly friendly. Like they've met before, they've hung out, and they've talked. There's again only so much that Curly can do for Josh. I mean, he's a young guy too. He's in his 20s too.
Michael's fault. He also highlights some statements made by him where he defends what he does by saying it's all for the good of the creators he works with. He accused him of being the reason Josh had stopped talking to CD in the first place, claiming Michael to be a manipulator who was separating Josh from all of his friends.
By the way, that's grooming behavior. I don't know if I'd say he's a groomer, but like it is grooming behavior, separating you from other friends, which is, I absolutely would believe Michael Quinn would do that.
Keep his control.
The big thing I have a problem with is a sign of a manipulator is separating someone from their friends, their good influences, whatever. That is what Michael Quinn is doing. He is making sure that Josh now no longer has any contact with me. He's making sure that Josh is separated from anybody that could potentially take him away from you, Michael. And that is a sign of a manipulator / abuser.
CD goes on to show a clip of Michael saying something very inappropriate about Daniel Larson, basically threatening physical violence against the man for some reason. This really is the fucking Spurg Avengers coming together to just...
Incredible. But yeah, so I don't know why you use such a disrespectful word. I mean, but anyway, yeah, again, this is all like Michael Quinn trying to push these individuals together and manipulate them because they have intellectual and developmental disabilities. So.
Go to war with each other, and this particular drama would eventually develop into something bigger. But for now, we'll keep it at that. While there admittedly isn't much new information in the CD video, it's at least worth noting that CD does genuinely seem to care about Joshua, which most other people frankly don't. At the very least, it seems they had been really good friends prior to Michael breaking them up. As far as I can tell, Michael never replied to this officially, apart from a few snide comments made at CD's expense. Likely, he didn't really want to bring more attention to it, given
because he knows that he's wrong.
CD was probably right. Of course, this didn't stop people from continuing to hurl some very
Or just call him Curly Daddy. Call him Daddy, dude. I want to hear you call another man Daddy.
fair criticism his way, which only led to him responding more and more negatively. In the end, for all the criticism, Michael never really stopped hanging out with Josh. To this day, he continues to walk around New York with him and even travel the world with him, and all expenses paid trips to Italy, Iceland, and anywhere else you can think of. While he constantly catches more and more negative attention, it doesn't seem he's that fazed by it, not least of all because he doesn't actually rely on TikTok as a means of getting an income, given his own pre-existing hot dog wealth. As Joshua's manager, Michael would, of course, try to contribute to the management side of things, which he did by diversifying his income streams. Of these, one suggestion would really take root: World of T-Shirts New York Tour, a brainchild of Michael and Josh's collective brain power. It would see the duo do basically the same thing they always do, while also having multiple people tag along with them, pretending to act as tour guides. On a website called Holy Prof Web, it's described as a unique and immersive experience, exactly 5 times. The whole article seems written by AI, fluffing up the whole tour as much as possible while also padding out the word count. But other than this obvious shill review, it also has a whole
Michael Quinn probably paid like a fucking moron to do it.
Website dedicated to it, as well as its own section on the World of T-Shirts primary website. The dedicated website itself looks less professional than any WordPress or anything site I've ever seen. In fact, being kind of a shitty website, it doesn't actually say that it's being run by Joshua either, instead being portrayed as a tour inspired by World of T-Shirts.
I wonder if the guy's taking money from that too. I wonder if like Michael Quinn's actually getting money from that.
Whatever that is supposed to mean. It captures the essence of World of T-Shirts, the flavor profile. However, despite Josh's no doubt staggering star power, the tour was received pretty poorly. Clips would begin to pop up of people filming themselves partaking in the activity, and pretty much all of them were done in mockery of Josh and Michael.
There's nothing you can't do. Now you're in New York.
Damn, is that part of the thing? Going on the subway and having him sing?
He ended up in Times Square. He danced, ran upstairs 10 times, and left.
Perhaps even more amusing than these clips, however, are the Google Maps reviews of the service. Boasting a grand score of 1.7 stars, he hasn't exactly been
It says 1.60, what the fuck?
showered by praise, and one glance at the reviews should give you an idea why. The first review that pops up claims that Josh had showed up to the starting spot of the tour already completely hammered, and even having pissed his pants prior to showing up, only
Hey, what better? He pre-gamed, baby.
to call the review's author an unemployed piece of shit when asked if he would get him a complimentary drink. Another review posted by an actual tour guide was equally as scornful, giving a similar recollection.
Well, I don't think it's a complimentary drink. I don't think it's a complimentary drink. Like I said, I think Josh takes that as part of the as part of it. Went out towards Josh and showed up. He already drunk and pissed himself. When I asked about the one free drink that's included with the tour, he called me an unemployed piece of shit and started swearing at me. His sidekick Michael Quinn also body slammed me into the pavement when I told him that he didn't teach Pete Davidson in high school. Not a great tour to be. Okay, I think that's I think this is very clearly a joke to me. I don't even think that this is real. This is a troll. It's a fucking troll post, but okay.
Events is the first one, with the addition that
I feel like, did you really read this as if this was something that actually happened? It has to be a joke. The host of the tour vomited. He spelled that interestingly. Then proceeded to urinate his shorts after chugging down multiple something drinks from a paper bag. The host threatened to sue a bunch of people, even though he himself is an unemployed brat. World of P Shorts is not a tour. Yeah, I feel like it probably is a bad scenario, but I don't think any of these are actually what happened. I'm pretty sure that this is them just like taking the tour and then trolling Josh. So I wouldn't. At least it's clear to me. Unless you think Michael Quinn actually body slammed the guy, I'm pretty sure this is just meant to troll. Because I think Josh might have pissed himself on a live stream or something once. I think these are just memes that they're cycling around. So kind of interesting that you interpret it as fact, but okay.
he actually threatened to sue some of the people there for no discernible reason. You get pretty much the same story scrolling through the rest of the reviews, with just about every positive review being some sort of troll, or otherwise just not taking it very seriously.
Okay,
Indeed, the tour became so infamous for its
my bad.
shoddiness that it ended up catching some attention on YouTube and TikTok, with creators like LolCow Designs even going through the reviews for content. Oddly, if you look for reviews of it via the Google search engine, you'll probably find this little article on a website called Passion Fruit. This review gives us
Sounds like a fucking sex site. What the hell?
a very different view of Josh, although perhaps not a very different view of the tour itself. He describes, in short, the process of booking a tour, which involved receiving a waiver via Google Docs, which warned the World of T-Shirts would not be liable if the author were to be bitten by rats during the tour.
What?
Not sure why that's so specifically listed. I've personally toured New York, and I've never had any liability waiver.
Don't knowingly act like a nuisance on a train. Don't give a fuck if he has autism. So just to be clear, I don't think that Josh is knowingly acting like a nuisance on the train. I don't think he's on the train like, you know what? I think if I sing it's obnoxious to people and they'll be upset. I think to him it's like, oh, this is part of my brand. I sing the New York song because that's like his biggest aspect of his brand. And I think that Josh lacks a bit of self-awareness. So I think that it's you should try to like just consider, like, understand that this isn't like this isn't something I think that I just try not to assign intentionality to the behavior he engages in when I don't think it's actually intentional behavior. When you say like don't intentionally act like a nuisance or don't knowingly, same thing. You know, I think that you have this idea that he knows that he's annoying. I think you think that I don't think that he knows that he's being rude or annoying.
List anything about being bitten by rats, but you never know what's going to happen with Josh. They would then set up a meeting, which Josh would show up to half an hour late for, at which point they had a very curt interview, which, as the author writes, had nothing he could actually use in his article.
What's my Subway sandwich? Usually chicken teriyaki with like mozzarella, I think, when I go.
He then describes the tour, which involved them walking across the streets aimlessly, while the author asked Joshua questions about his life, as well as just tried to really talk to him normally one-on-one. Joshua would constantly give people side glances, paranoid that any single one of them could be a troll, and he rejected everyone who approached him for a photo. He justifies some of this paranoia with a story he tells the author from when he was in Texas. One day, when he came back to his hotel room, he saw that someone had broken in and defecated on his bed. At one point, Josh would pull out his phone, and as is usual for these tours, he would film a TikTok. After that, they took a metro ride on the train to Williamsburg, until they reached a bar by the name of Union Pool, where everyone was too old to recognize Josh. Then, they walked over to another bar, where the author alleges he bought Joshua a margarita as a thank you, at which point they said their goodbyes, and the autist-in-chief slunk away into the shadows.
The what?
Joshua a margarita as a thank you, at which point they said their goodbyes, and the autist-in-chief slunk away into the shadows.
I don't understand. I mean, I don't know. I don't really understand the like, listen, I like edgy humor. I don't understand like the desperation to just be shocking instead of actually come up with an intelligent joke. Just calling him the autist-in-chief. I don't really get it. Like, who does that resonate with, and why do you want to resonate with the humor of children? Like, you're getting older. I think it's time for you to, like, I don't know, not just be edgy and say the N-word on streams while you play Fortnite. Just like you know what I mean? Like, everything else is solid that this dude fucking produces, but he just tries to be intentionally edgy, and it's not really funny. Like, you can be funny, but it's not really funny. It's just like, haha, let me like borderline call somebody a slur, or actually call people slurs as much as possible. I don't know. I feel like you're getting older. You should feel a bit embarrassed by that. What are you, like, in your 20s now, right? Like, you're becoming an adult. I don't think that you want to be mentally stuck in the headspace of like a 16-year-old forever. People are going to begin to lose respect for you as you get older and you start to expand your spaces. So I guess a little bit of advice there. I don't know.
The article provides an interesting view of Josh, describing him as a very earnest and kind person, highlighting just how much he differs from the idea promulgated by social media. From clips of him behaving like a total nitwit to the thousands of hate videos made about him. Largely, the author seems satisfied, albeit he never spoke to the tour's quality. Overall, this was the most positive reception the tour ever got, and it's only positive because it entirely ignores the fact that there was even a tour in the first place. Despite this, the project is still ongoing, with most of the tours getting a dedicated TikTok in lieu of Joshua's ceaseless hustling, all while being constantly babysat by a man twice his age, who is not his father or relative in any way. Speaking of Michael, as I've alluded to earlier, he would get Josh into a rather strange bit of beef with Daniel Larson, another channel favorite here. While it's hard to say exactly where it started, it seems that fans of the two respective creators were really pushing them to have a fight with each other in New York City. This led to the two of them to name drop each other, with Michael even supposedly trying to set up a boxing match. A lot of this drama is—
Yeah, I remember Ryan really wanted to meet them too. Like Ryan the Lion from before. He wanted to be part of this because, again, it's like a viewership thing.
It's pretty much entirely contained to Michael's account, which has since been nuked. This complicates the process of tracking down how exactly it developed. What we do know is that at some point, Michael claimed that Daniel Larson had found his home address, even though there didn't seem to be much proof. This led to him releasing a video talking about how he would
I very highly doubt that.
have to hire bodyguards for Josh to protect him from Daniel Larson.
All right, so get this. I'm hiring a security detail even larger than the one that Donald Trump has.
Damn, he's got that whole backwards hat, fucking Ray-Ban look, huh?
To defend World of T-shirts from Daniel Larson.
Conversely, Daniel would respond to what
he's obviously like miming it, so
he deemed as threats from Michael by making a legal threat.
This message is for Michael Quinn. If you do not stop with the threats, then I will be forced to press charges.
I imagine he did, and it actually worked. Holy fuck.
And file a cease and desist.
This all came to a head with
cease and desist, baby.
Michael trying to set up a meeting between Josh and Daniel, where the latter would have to travel to New York City all the way from California.
So after 2 hours of negotiations, we came to an agreement that Josh wants to meet Daniel Larson. It's going to happen. What's the stipulations?
Whoa.
A couple of stipulations. Yeah. First of all,
Did he want to, or did you just decide that he was going to? How does that work?
To be there, it has to be a place they won't be doxxed.
Yes.
And we want to make sure that Netflix covers it.
Apparently, this little deal was preceded by Michael and Daniel meeting randomly on the street while they were both out, and they ended up chatting each other up before Daniel started to live stream with Mike.
I'm going to get the Nobel Peace Prize because I'm going to introduce him to World of T-shirts, and the whole world is going to be beautiful.
The impression gathered by most was that Michael was basically trying to stir trouble between the two for
Yeah, of course. Michael's a fucking loser.
no other reason than to farm clout. This is certainly a prevailing belief on the World of T-shirts subreddit, where, as we've already discussed, people hate Michael's guts. Not that I really blame them. Nonetheless, this
I mean, it's a good thing. It's appreciated because, you know, and I understand Daniel Larson not as good of a person as Josh. But like the trolls are praised in the Daniel Larson community, even though they effectively cause him to cause more harm to people. The trolls will cause, you know, Daniel Larson. I mean, Daniel Larson is a danger to himself and other people. He needs to be taken off the streets. He needs to be put in some kind of like facility, like a higher support needed group home with like more restrictions. But these people will go and they'll bully and troll him into going and harassing people at like an Olive Garden. You know, but when it comes to Josh, at least they're trying to warn him that Michael Quinn's a scum piece of shit. So there's a benefit there.
wouldn't stop the meeting from actually happening, and later in May, Daniel flew out to New York, where he finally met the dastardly duo in real life. Their whole meeting would be streamed on Michael's TikTok, which thankfully was archived. For the entirety of the meeting, they're sitting in a diner, eating food while Michael and Joshua record at the same time. For the most part, Daniel Larson and Joshua Block don't really seem that interested in actually talking to each other, seemingly only doing so out of politeness. It's pretty awkward to listen to. Meanwhile, Michael's the one largely driving the conversation, trying to get them to interact in a more entertaining manner, like when he randomly asked what kind of collabs they would do. In particular, Michael actually invited Daniel to Joshua's signature tour of New York.
Can you guys do like daily collaborations maybe in the city? Would you like that, Josh?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be awesome? You guys?
Tour on Friday night.
Yeah. Why don't you, would you let him join for free, the tour?
I can't do that. It's not fair. Like,
all right, do you want me to pay for his...
How is it not fair? that Daniel Larson would be like an unironic pull to his insane fucking tour.
Or if he shows up, I'll pay for your tour.
Okay.
The topic eventually shifts to Reddit, and especially about how terrible it is for spreading fake news about all three of them. Michael seems particularly livid throughout this discussion, making his opinion crystal clear.
I don't go on Reddit. I hate Reddit. All they do is make fun of me. Well,
yeah, I mean, Reddit is pretty cringe, dude. It's not really a valuable thing.
they are a news source.
But they're fake news. They're terrible.
They're fake news. Yeah. Everybody
It's worse than TMZ, yeah.
After this, Josh starts talking about how someone had created a Yelp account under his name, which resulted in him getting flooded with negative reviews, which, in his view, are entirely misplaced, given that he's never actually received a complaint from any of his fans for his services. He does not...
Well, usually people don't complain to your face. Well, maybe not usually, but I can see why people wouldn't want to do that. But I mean, I wouldn't doubt that the people that might have done the tours were doing the tours to intentionally leave a bad review. I could see that.
Bring up the Google reviews if you were wondering, but honestly, I would doubt that he even knows they exist. After a short discussion about how both Josh and Daniel were regularly getting swatted, Michael, once again showing he's puppet mastering this thing, forces in Joshua's signature catchphrase.
Josh, do me a favor. Ask Daniel if he's ever been on Tinder.
Is that a signature catchphrase of Josh? Have you ever been on Tinder? I feel like that's not true.
Yes. Mine got said B-A-N-E-D.
Oh, he was banned. Gotcha.
What does that mean?
What is that? B-A-N-N-E-D.
Yeah, you get banned from the Gucci store, banned from Tinder. Got it. I understand.
Banned. He's banned from Tinder.
Right, okay.
I've largely avoided mentioning it as it's frankly kind of cringe, but after the original Side Talk interview, where the banned from the Gucci store meme had been born, Josh would try to relight that flame by morphing the meme into something different. As we already know, he took the word banned and made it part of his whole advertising persona. Subsequently, he would turn it into a catchphrase, in which he changed...
You gotta play him saying the word banned. It's just a very exaggerated... It's a little funny.
The Gucci store to Tinder.
I go to open Tinder. What does B-A-N-N-E-D mean? Banned. Banned? I don't have insurance.
But back to the interview.
Okay.
The discussion loops back to swatting and doxing. In particular, Josh brings up how, due to people doxing a lot of the bars he goes to, a lot of bartenders would outright refuse to serve him. Knowing Joshua, he probably sees...
Yeah, I think he had a regular bar on the on his like tour that would get fucking pissed at him for that.
This is the absolute worst thing that could happen to him. The most interesting part of this whole clip is a rather brief part during which Michael asks Joshua if he's going to stop drinking, clearly doing so to solicit a view-worthy reaction. Joshua responds to this in a rather interesting manner, accepting that he does indeed have a drinking problem, but says he's unwilling to commit to stopping.
You're gonna quit drinking, right?
I guess at least he's honest.
No?
I'll moderate my drinking.
What about quit altogether? What you think you should?
I mean, you know, it's interesting. He wouldn't be able to drink if you didn't pay for all of his alcohol, you scum piece of shit.
Maybe. What do you think, Dan? You think you should quit drinking?
No, I don't think I should quit. I should cut down, though. You should cut down. Cut down, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Larson, for being reasonable. Thank you, Mr. President.
Because you drink, too.
So, I don't end up in the hospital once a week, you know?
Yeah, I don't...
Bro, he ends up in the hospital once a week, and you're still supplying with alcohol? Michael Quinn should be arrested, unironically. Arrested. What the fuck? The guy's going to the hospital once a week. You're aware of this. You're supplying him with alcohol. and you're continuously, why would you continuously supply him with alcohol? It doesn't make any sense. What the fuck? This guy's a real scum piece of shit, huh?
I've only been in the hospital twice.
I think once is more than enough, you know?
Yeah, so stop fucking buying him alcohol then, you dumb piece of shit.
Also reveals that his drinking problem has led him to end up in the hospital twice. Of course, he doesn't say it with a level of severity that that kind of statement should warrant, but he does say it. After that, there's not much to say about the interview. Michael does his best to keep the chat going as long as possible, and to the credit of our two TikTok e-celebrities, they are decent at engaging in casual conversation with each other by the end. Josh seems excited for an upcoming trip to Vegas, with perhaps the most interesting part being the fact he's mildly worried about his safety, as he's unwilling to leave the touristy areas. He seems to have a fear of the rascals of Las Vegas. In the end, Daniel and Josh part ways, having officially made peace, which is then further discussed between Josh and Mike. It's strange to hear Michael talk about it as though it had been some earth-shattering drama, considering it was completely astroturfed by him and then ended by him. There isn't really much of a takeaway here, nor a whole lot resulting from it. The much-hyped collabs they talked about never really materialized, and in the eyes of most, the meeting was pretty underwhelming, not helped by the fact that most of it was just being steered by Michael. The most entertaining thing people got out of it was this brief animated clip, which parodied the whole interaction.
What does B
What the fuck is the sound?
A-N-N-E-D mean?
Oh, it's Daniel Larson chewing. He looks like a White Walker. What the fuck?
Strangely though, despite this beef seemingly being over,
what a cringe reference, huh?
This didn't exactly put an end to the back and forth. While Josh was absent from it from this point on, Michael and Daniel continued to make comments about each other, although 90% of it was coming from Michael, with Daniel just occasionally firing back. Admittedly, this got pretty weird. About 2 months after the interview, Daniel Larson made a very odd series of tweets where he made the claim that he just had intimate relations with Michael Quinn. I don't know if that's true. Considering it's Daniel Larson, I'd say that it's 100% certified true by true-based American patriots. It's probably not true, yeah.
I wonder if that was a weird way. I'm getting ready to do the unthinkable. Why is Michael Quinn asking me for sex? What the fuck? Oh, this is not Daniel Larson. I just messed up again, and this time it was worse than last time. I don't even think this is Daniel Larson, to be absolutely honest with you. I don't think so. Daniel Larson doesn't type in coherent sentences. I've had him fucking melt down in my in my thing before. So I don't think that's actually Daniel Larson.
There isn't much more to say about Michael after this, at least nothing relevant to us. His main account got deleted, and his presumed second account also got deleted. Since then, he tried to reestablish himself, with a TikTok I showed being his latest attempt. As for Josh, things would only continue to get worse and more complicated for him. His behavior would become more and more erratic, not to mention more and more controversial. While he'd largely avoided the attention of YouTubers before, a lot of people, largely smaller creators, would start making videos about him, as clips of his outbursts were circulating again and again. Among these clips, one of them that really made its way around was from a live stream of Josh from sometime in early 2023. The stream started innocently enough until the King of New York is approached by someone claiming to be a fan, only to really quickly devolve. And
are we gonna get to the baggage theft thing, or is that just missing? Is that just missing from this video?
To whatever this is.
My name's Dugla, and I've been hired by somebody on TikTok to supervise all autistic people. And
incredible.
No, you won't.
It turns out this man is Douglas Skates, who from what I can gather is a bit of a professional troll, having approached Josh mainly for clout. As you can see, Josh isn't exactly enthused to talk to him, which leads to a very strange back and forth wherein Josh tries to leave the man as far behind as possible, only for Douglas to always catch up to him, to which Josh always seems pretty shocked.
I don't want to talk to you.
I'm here to help.
No. If I'm calling the fucking police.
This would keep happening pretty much for the entirety of the live stream, with Douglas constantly popping out of nowhere, just spawning in place, always able to find Josh within a few minutes of losing him.
Wow, what a funny guy, huh?
This should, of course, not really be surprising given Josh continued to stream his location, meaning Douglas could easily just watch it, find out where he is again, and then wait for him to leave, and then find him again. This clip ended up circulating.
Yeah, it's still like a level of harassment that it could get him arrested, and it should have gotten him arrested.
Both on TikTok and YouTube, mainly due to Josh's very, very angry disposition towards Douglas. Doug himself would release clips of his interactions as part of a larger video, where, as the title suggests, he's trying to get banned from every library in town.
Chill out, bro. We're cool. We're cool. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm taking care of him. He's getting mad. I'm his caretaker. Calm down.
You're not.
Don't hit me, sir. Look, bro.
As more and more of his public outbursts were exposed via compilations and re-uploads, Josh would start catching the attention of the commentary scene, resulting in a number of videos being released about him, namely from Kiwi Tapes. But more interesting than most of these videos is a release from a channel called Masshole Media. The channel released a video in the form of a documentary, where the filming crew shows us a day in the life of Joshua Block. It does give us a pretty interesting look at the kind of person Josh is, being fairly polite with the filming crew throughout. We get to see what he looks and acts like when he's not the one holding the camera, and frankly, he seems like a pretty nice dude when he's not plastered out of his mind.
Yeah, when he's not constantly being harassed by people. Yeah, sure.
How come, excuse me, is it true that, like, I looked on Google and bartenders can't accept an state ID in mass? Is that
No,
true?
that's not true. That's not true.
How come I saw that on Google? Like, is it...
Because it's on Google. Not everything's true.
Like a law that they can't accept it, but they don't enforce it.
We also get to see some more candid interactions with fans, who end up approaching him in droves. This time around, he does accept photo opportunities and doesn't actually ask for money from anyone. In general, the documentary puts quite a positive spin on Josh and his behavior, which frankly was a pretty refreshing find. But it doesn't exactly break new grounds by giving us more lore, other than making one very interesting assertion regarding Josh's drinking habit.
The alcohol situation with Josh, from what I saw and who I spoke with, he has about 4 to 5 drinks a day. We went to 2 bars and
There's no way that's all he drinks.
He just got out of dinner when I saw him. So he probably had...
Unless he's just not drinking any water. That's just and not really eating, then maybe.
3 drinks when I, like, around the time when I was around. It wasn't like going to one bar, having 5 drinks, then leaving, going to the next bar, having 5 drinks, then leaving.
Maybe he's actually cut down. That's surprising.
It was 1 drink, you'd sit in there, he'd sip on it, he'd do whatever. He'd walk around for another hour, 30 minutes, whatever, and then we'd go to another bar and he'd have another drink. That's kind of what I perceived it as. Obviously, people are going to have other stories and kind of explain what they've seen from him.
Bar hopping, baby.
Whether it be honest.
I wonder if there's part of it that Josh feels like he missed out on, like some kind of a college atmosphere where it's like, oh, I want to go through my my bar hopping party era like other people get to do, and some kind of attempt to feel normal. I mean, I never did like a bar hopping era. It was never really for me. I never really gave a shit. So I don't know, maybe.
But he was controlling it and he was doing like a very, very good job and he was still coherent. I didn't notice anything out of the blue.
Suffice to say, the Masshole channel has a rather flowery view of Josh's alcoholism, although admittedly finding out how bad his drinking is kind of hard. Given the statements by his customers, we know it's pretty bad, but without concrete numbers.
Well, okay. We didn't really get statements from his customers. We got a bunch of trolls that were saying that Michael Quinn body slammed him and then he pissed his pants. I'm not sure how much that, how true that is, but so, okay. I don't know. It's a little, okay, never mind. Why? He takes it all as a fact. It's so weird. Okay.
It's hard to tell if he's like, you know, pretty degenerate alcoholic or on the verge.
I got to assume at this point that Turkey Tom is not doing like, I'm pretty sure he's just passing all of it off, like the script writing and everything off, and he's just making these videos for money at this point. Has like no level of engagement with what he's actually talking about.
Death. But as luck would have it, we wouldn't be without concrete data for long. As the same month of the doc's release, a channel will be created on TikTok with a clear purpose, to answer the question of just how bad Josh's alcoholism is. The channel is pretty amusingly called World of Alcohol Tracker, and it boasts 170,000 followers of its own, pretty much spending its entire time keeping up on Josh's day-to-day activities, with a big focus on keeping track of how much he drinks. This is best exemplified by his very first video, where he notes down...
Is this the channel that's actually like positively or tries to have like a positive thing? I think at the beginning of all their videos they'll link a number to like an alcoholics hotline or whatever, or some kind of awareness, and they don't do it to troll him. If this, or maybe that's a different one that I'm aware of.
On every single drink Josh had consumed on camera, calculating that, accounting for loss of blood alcohol level due to sobering up in between drinks, he would have had around 0.21% blood alcohol content level by 8 p.m., having started drinking around noon. For context, if you blow a 0.8 when you get pulled over, you're probably going to get a DUI. So Josh is at triple that amount. With a slight break following the second video, this guy went on to diligently catalog Joshua's alcohol consumption for every single day, from the 31st of October all the way up to January. He even documented a few more relevant metrics, including the amount of money Josh would spend on drinks, and even the amount of calories consumed. The channel got a shocking amount of attention, especially...
There's no way Josh is eating that much. He's just walking around New York and like drinking alcohol. I doubt he's eating too much food, and I doubt he's drinking that much water.
Considering that it really hasn't been around that long and is like a niche account following a relatively niche person in the grand scheme of things, just covering his alcohol addiction. It's such a small area of anything to focus on, and it blew up, which if anything shows just how fascinated people are with the world of t-shirts. Less than 2 weeks after posting his first video, he posted another breakdown, which ended up netting him over 2 million views. And in that video, he concluded that throughout the 8th of November 2023, Josh got to a blood alcohol level of around 0.22, paid roughly $25, and consumed around 2,300 calories.
How the fuck did he only pay $25? And that's not a lot of calories for this dude who's fucking sprinting around New York.
For those who don't know, 2,300 calories is around what an average male his age would eat in a day, and he was consuming that in alcohol alone. The whole channel serves as a stark reminder of just how...
Oh, that was just the alcohol calories? Holy fuck.
How bad Josh's addiction has gotten. And given that he hits at least 0.2 across pretty much all these videos, it's clear that this man is drinking himself into an early grave. This new perspective on Josh led to a lot of attention being brought back to the World of T-Shirts channel, which was largely negative. While most had always been vaguely aware of his problem, these videos opened a lot of people's eyes to just how bad the problem was.
Well, I think that people are starting to realize that people on TikTok are real. So it's no longer reality TV. Like when you look at like the Trisha Paytas era and whatnot, where it's like, oh, this is more of a reality TV thing, and like the people are playing into it too. You know, they're playing into this character rather than actually being more authentic in who they are. And you're starting to realize, like, oh, wait, Josh is like a real person. This is a real thing. This really has a problem.
Conversely, Josh and Michael would both end up learning about the tracker. According to the tracker himself, Michael came out against him, arguing he was sending people to Josh who would actively encourage him to drink more.
How does that do that?
Tracker dismissed that idea wholesale, arguing the only people
only a fucking idiot would say that. Well, Michael Quinn.
Urging it are people from Michael's side of things, which is definitely true.
I'm not here to physically help Josh anymore. I'm just here to leverage his account and his content to help people. I've gotten hundreds of messages validating that people are drinking less because of this content, are more mindful.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's a good thing to do. I mean, it brings an awareness. It has people like look at this and go like, oh, this is wrong. You shouldn't drink so much. And at least it brings some kind of public pressure. This seems like the guy that I was thinking of. Like I think that he's very well intentioned. So it's not a bad idea.
About the drinking, and I think this is all great positive reinforcement that this content is helping people. So I'm so happy for that. I'm happy for all of you guys. And as MQ says in this clip, my viewers or community are the ones telling Josh, oh, you need to get to 16, you need to break a new personal record.
I very highly doubt that.
Those people are from his own community, and they have been the ones from day one of his drinking career on TikTok. They're the ones egging him on.
Regardless of what Michael Quinn might want us to believe, everyone knew that Josh had a problem, regardless of the tracker's presence. Things are really put into perspective when we reach the end of 2023, with an update for December 31st. In it, he gives a breakdown for the whole day. But the really interesting part comes later when he looks back over the entire month of December. According to his study, we find out Josh has spent around $1,500 on alcohol, with an average blood alcohol level at around 0.08, which once again is when you get a DUI.
Hey Josh, you paying any taxes on all your New York tourists, dude? I'm gonna have to step in.
Bye. He would only spend 34% of the month. So
I wonder if Josh gets money from the government. I wouldn't doubt it. To survive.
Being at least slightly drunk 64% of the time, above driving limit for 40% of the time, and blackout drunk about 9% of the time. From this, he would also draw an average for the entire year, asserting that throughout 2023, Josh would have spent around $18,000 on alcohol and consumed 575,000 calories from drinking alone. Frankly though, while the tracker undoubtedly did really good work, it's really hard to see this having much of an effect. The truth is that Josh is showing no signs of changing at all. And pretty much for the whole last year, he's been stuck in Groundhog Day, doing the same thing over and over again to an audience of people who, for
I'm surprised. This video kind of misses the mark.
For the most part, couldn't really care less what happens to him. This is best exemplified when you look at his channel today. While he still gets respectable views, compounded by the fact that he releases up to a dozen videos in a single day, the comment sections are universally filled with either trolls who want him to drink more, or people referencing the tracker who, while not being fans of him, do care enough to at least say that he should stop drinking. We live in a time when pretty much anyone can get famous for anything, and there's no better example of this than TikTok. The number of absolute degenerates who gain popularity just for that is uncountable. Given that, it shouldn't be a surprise that Joshua Block has found so much success. For all of his faults, one can't deny his achievements. He managed to turn his status as a lol cow into a little career, and to this day he makes enough money to fund his very expensive drinking habit, but that's simultaneously the tragedy of it. He's always encouraged to continue the self-destructive behavior with no regard for how it affects his mental and physical health because it keeps getting views. In that, it's hard to feel anything but pity for this guy. Despite his flawed personality, the truth is that he's not nearly as bad as many other people on the platform, and frankly, he is literally autistic. Like, this guy kind of needs help, and it's not from Michael Quinn.
Hey, there's some update. hey, I think that's a progress. I think,
Will Sucks super chatted $4.99. Hey, Papa. First time catching the stream.
Incredible.
What are your thoughts on Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble?
Oh my god, I have no fucking idea, dude. I don't give a shit that Cody Rhodes won. I don't watch wrestling anymore. But sorry, man. Awesome. Better that CM Punk didn't win. Fuck that guy. Anyway, like I was saying, like I guess it's some progress with the empathy factor from Turkey Tom.
Seeing him self-destruct in such a spectacular fashion is pretty heartbreaking. I can't predict what will happen to the guy, but personally, I do hope he gets better at some point, and the first step to that is probably him getting off of TikTok. As for if that's going to happen, I wouldn't speak confidently either way. I've been Turkey Tom, thanks for watching, and until next time, leave me alone.
Oh, okay. I guess interesting video. To be honest with you, it's kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of shallow. I guess maybe because I have a good understanding of it. Like, I'm really genuinely surprised. I feel like the arc where Michael Quinn steals this motherfucker's bag is like a huge aspect of the lore, demonstrating how much of a scumbag Michael Quinn is, and the fact that it's not in there makes me feel like they didn't do a very deep dive. I also feel like I don't know, maybe this is like the reluctance to want to like reference me in there explicitly. I don't really know. Whatever. I don't know if that's true, or maybe I'm just being like fucking idiot brain. But that's a pretty big one. I'm a little disappointed that that's not in there. It kind of felt very bare bones and almost like I don't know, lazy. I mean, I'm incredibly lazy. I'm not like sitting here making documentaries or anything, so I understand that. But at the same time, I feel like that's a pretty big arc to miss, especially since it demonstrates like how much of a real scumfuck Michael Quinn is. So yeah, I guess that's it.